you a diabetic and curious about why? My name's Bowie. I've had type 1 diabetes for over 21 years. I'm healing naturally and sharing information as I go. If you're familiar with any of my content, you've seen that I have talked a lot about iron overload and the development of diabetes. Specifically as it relates to iron overload, the development of excess reactive oxygen species, and the resulting inflammatory cascade. I was doing a little Tuesday morning research and I came across something that just furthered even more the theory that reactive oxygen species is the reason that our beta cells are failing. So if you're familiar at all with any diabetic research, so much of it is done in animal models, specifically rats. And how they induce diabetes in these rats is in a series of drugs, either alloxin or streptozotocin. And so I wanted to look up how these drugs were actually inducing diabetes in the animal models. And so I found this paper. The paper goes, in the presence of intracellular thiols, especially glutathione is a naturally occurring antioxidant in our cells. Alloxin generates reactive oxygen species in a cyclic redox reaction with one of its products. This auto-oxidation of this particular acid that it makes when it enters the cell generates superoxide radicals, hydrogen peroxide, and in a final iron-catalyzed reaction step, hydroxyl radicals. These hydroxyl radicals are ultimately responsible for the death of the beta cells, which have a particularly low antioxidative defense capacity, and the ensuing state of insulin-dependent alloxin diabetes results. So if you're someone who had any doubts about the role of reactive oxygen species in the development of diabetes, you have to see that our entire laboratory model of diabetes is using these drugs that require and depend on reactive oxygen species inducing diabetes. I wrote an entire book on the inflammatory cascade that results from iron overload and the resulting reactive oxygen species. You're going to want to read it.